Last time in our Stories From series, we followed a day in the life of Dr. Matt Stevens and his work with kestrel chicks in the wild. In this episode, we're exploring stories from the hospital, following the fascinating work of Cedric Robert, manager of the Trust's National Bird of Prey Hospital. He sees hundreds of injured birds every year, but is currently focused on tawny owl chicks brought to us by members of the public.
It's called branching. They leave the nest before to fly. They don't know how to fly. They don't have their their feathers completely developed, as you can see. Yeah. But that's what they do. And so if it's windy overnight, the bird can be on the floor. But sometimes they need a bit of help. And I have to admit, most of these baby tawny owls who came to us, it was a good choice
to bring them here.
Yeah.
It's always good to give us a call to get a bit of advice.
Yeah, a bit of advice, and that's why we're here anyway.
So you've been here for quite a few years now. How long have you been here?
I came here in 2005 as a work experience student.
Yeah.
And again, I remember with Ashley I called Ashley basically, and I asked him if I got the chance to be able to work for a few months, and on my grand surprise, he said yes. And I was doing streaming, cutting grass, and things like this. And you can imagine my English was very poor, and I think the only way I could thank Ashley and the team is for me to work, doing things, maintenance work. So this the guys have time to fly the birds, and it was great. I had a good time.
In the hospital, an essential part of Cedric's job is the careful rehabilitation of birds of prey. Today, he is assessing and weighing orphan tawny owl chicks, which were brought in by a member of the public.
Every day he gains some weight, and I don't know, adult, if it's a female, can be between 450, almost 500 grams.
And how old do you think this one might be?
He's about, I would say about 4 weeks old, maybe a little bit older, but between 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but no more than that.
Okay. And what's the noise they're making, Cedric?
It's a warning, or they is not very happy in a way, which is very good, because we don't want this bird to be imprinted. We don't want to see us as mom and dad, if you like, because the main goal for this bird is to go back to the wild, and which is perfect. So that behavior, that's what we want. One of the best parts of the job, actually, looking after these birds.
You like working with the tawny owls?
I do, yeah, because they, I think they're very pretty in a way, like when you, and also because usually people like barn owls due to their white plumage, and tawny owls can be more the bird people don't think as much, but they're amazing birds, and also in the wild they're really they're very versatile. They know how to look after themselves. I just love these birds.
I mean, this setting, I just love it out here. It's such good inspiration being able to be in a place like the Trust and having the meadow around you. It's lovely. What's your sort of, what do you find inspiring for your work in the hospital?
I think it's being able to help the wild birds, actually, because in theory they shouldn't come to us. They should do their own life and stay away from people, and then suddenly they turn up to the hospital. They need some help, and we're here, which is great. That's what I like. Yeah.
And can you remember like the first bird that you treated?
I think it was a buzzard. I was not yet managing the hospital, and it was quite stressful for me because I had to call the vet. You can imagine on the phone already. It was quite a good experience. I've learned very quickly to be short when I talk and use every keywords. And the vet was amazing, and the bird did a good recovery. That was the main important thing. So it was good. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I know, obviously, from some of the work that I do, that the data that we use on here is very important for us to understand where the birds come from and what might have happened to them to bring them into the hospital. So what do you find with tawny owls, for example? What do you find is like the most common injury for bringing a bird into the hospital?
With adult tawny owl, I would say it could be traffic accident.
Yeah.
Last year it was really obvious, and especially when we were able again to go back to work, we had a lot of traffic accident.
So you noticed a lot last year with COVID?
I think so, yes. And it can be for a very short period of time, but it was obvious. There was like so many birds who came hit by cars or found nearby the road.
Yeah.
It's
That's sad.
Yeah.
What keeps you coming back? What keeps you getting up every morning and coming into the hospital?
I think it's because you don't. The hospital, you don't know what's going to happen. No matter how organized you are, your day is going to might change totally. So I work like this, and again, because they're wild birds, they need some help. When they arrive, then a bit of excitement, basically. A few days ago, I was a couple of fields over there in the valley. Somebody called the trust, and there was a buzzard on the floor, and I thought, wow, better to go. And the bird now is with us, and he's doing a great recovery.
All young tawny owls spend time in one of our large aviaries, giving them the opportunity to fully recover and hone their flying skills in safety, which gives them the best chance of survival in the wild. How much time is she going to spend in this aviary?
I hope a week, maximum 2 weeks, but not more than that.
Okay, so it's a good outlook for this bird.
Very much so.
How does it feel to watch the progress of the bird?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really important. It's hard to describe, especially when bird came so exhausted or a severe trauma or something like this, and you see the bird like progressing. It's very, very good. I'm just going to see what she wants to do. She doesn't know the early limit of the aviary, so that's normal.
What does a good day look like for you then?
A good day, I guess all the wild birds are doing well in the hospital, things are progressing, and then we're talking about release, and that's a good day for me.
Yeah, releasing birds is amazing, isn't it?
It is, because the birds shouldn't, for the first place, come to us. They should be still flying and doing what they have to do in the wild. So if we manage to help them and then they can go back to their own life, that's the idea.
Yeah, that's cool. What gets you down about working in the hospital?
It's I would say sometimes it's the lack of space, the lack of time, not enough hours in the day, not enough space, but that's, the population of birds of prey overall. I think locally in England, locally to us, buzzards, red kite, tawny owls, I think doing quite well. So, or people are finding more birds. So sometimes we are obviously, the hospital, like great as it is, we are lacking of space, and sometimes it can be very difficult. But we try as much as we can to accommodate everybody. But sometimes it can be hard. Yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing now, Cedric?
This evening we're just going to catch 2 tawny owls. I need your help actually.
Okay.
And we take 2 tawny owls and we're going to release them very close to the park.
Okay. So we're going to pop into the aviary.
That's it, yeah.
Bring them out and then put them in. Then you need to.
Yeah. So we choose. We've got 6 tawny owls in the aviary. We're going to take the 2 of them, and we need to weigh them, make sure they're good condition, obviously, and we, as you know, Matt, ring them. Yeah. So we need to take their ring number, and then after that, box them up, and then release them.
Dr. Matt Stevens, the Trust's conservation biologist, ensures that every tawny owl has a BTO ring attached. Ringing is important to gain information about the survival, productivity and movement of birds, helping us to understand why populations are changing.
Because they're all rehabilitated birds, we like to know what happens to them after they've left, but it's difficult to do that without having some form of marking on them. The easiest and cheapest way for us is to fit them with these British Trust for Ornithology metal rings, which will stay there for its entire life. it won't really wear very much, and all of the details on that ring, so its unique code there, will be available for anybody that finds the bird should the bird die, or if any ringer recaptures the bird at some point at a nest site. If you know that a bird is still alive after, say, 5 weeks, obviously it's feeding itself and obviously it's doing okay. The only way of knowing that, as I said, is if by having some form of mark on the bird. And we can do it either by ringing like this or by using radio transmitters or satellite tags.
Yeah.
That's ideally what we'd like to do, because then you can work out exactly how long the bird has lived for when it dies.
But we're not doing that at the moment.
We can't afford to do that.
Okay.
For one of these, it costs about £1.20 plus a 50p surcharge. Whereas a radio transmitter or a satellite tag, a radio transmitter will cost somewhere around about 120, 130, and the satellite transmitter about £700. So
Okay.
yeah, we can't afford to do that. So we have to rely on this technique and hope that the bird is recovered at some point or refound at a nest site.
So that's a lot to resource then when you think about it, isn't it? It's a lot. It takes a lot to run the hospital.
It is, and well, you know, I'm just doing looking after the birds, but yeah, it costs a lot of money,
Yeah.
So, but because I really like what I'm doing, and as you know, I do run a bit, so sometimes I like to raise money for the hospital, and every time we've been doing it, and I'm amazed at the people are supporting us and the hospital. I think last time it was about over £5,000 we raised for it, so it's great.
And that was for you running a marathon?
Yeah. I did pretty well, which is even better. But yeah, it's something quite proud of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you raised all that money, but even that, I mean, it costs more than £300 per bird in the hospital. Is that right?
It is. Well, it's at this time of the year, you know, life is difficult for everybody, and when you think like we talk about over £5,000 for running the hospital every month.
Yeah.
I've raised just that target for only a month.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what happened for the next few months.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's very challenging.
Obviously, they click a lot because there's a warning against us, which is good in a way, because we want them wild, and that's what they are. And so these birds will do well in the wild. They won't try to stay close to people at all, and that's a good achievement already. Again, good condition. Fully feathered.
Oh, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. As well as a tail. Yeah, it's a good bird. Right.
Now, we all know you work very long hours, Cedric. Do you find it difficult to switch off when you do get to go home?
Yeah, it's really difficult. It all depends, especially when you've got patients who are, you know, they're really in a very bad shape. We had a peregrine a few weeks ago, and every morning when I come back to the park, and the first thing I do is just open the door slightly, say, yeah, she's still with us. So this moment, yes, I think a lot about the patients. The other part I'm thinking a lot is what can I do to accommodate everyone? So moving birds around very quickly.
Yeah. Making sure everyone gets the best care.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are several suitable woodlands around the Trust where young tawny owls can be released. So, Cedric carries the 2 tawny owls into a clearing from which they can fly safely into the cover of the canopy. It's great to release birds, Cedric. Would you say that's one of the highlights of your job?
It is. Probably not I would say top 3, yes.
Okay,
yes,
top three.
It's because, as you know, some of these birds won't have that second chance. those birds, I know them since they have arrived probably 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
So especially for this bird, yes, it's the highlight for sure. But to me, it's at the very beginning when you see the progress they're making.
Yeah.
Because coming from the wild then to our hospital, it's a big change. And
Yeah.
so when we know they're getting better and better, that's my highlight. And then obviously release them.
So that's like the cherry on top
That's
of
it.
the cake.
It's a cherry, yes. Yes.
And how does it make you feel? You know, you've put all that work in to rehabilitating them. How does it make you feel when you get to release them?
Well, it feels good. Yeah, it feels very good. And also, right now I'm thinking about the birds who are inside the hospital, because that means some of them can be moved outside into, you know, we just need to clean quickly their aviary where they come from, these 2 tawny owls, and then we can move some of these birds who need a space outside.
Yeah.
So it's ongoing.
It's a cycle. So you're
It
straight
is.
on to thinking about how you can make it better for
Yeah.
the birds that are still left in the
Yeah,
hospital, and then eventually, hopefully, they get to be released. And
that's the idea, yeah.
yeah. And so, how do you feel about this particular 2? Are you hopeful?
Very much so. They're very strong, and the Trust did a project regarding the tawny owls to release them.
Yeah.
So the hard release like we did, you know, straight away like this, we know it does work.
We know it works, yeah.
It's a great place. I mean, look around you. We know we've got tawny owls in this area, so it's very positive on that.
So we know that tawny owls are, when they're strong and when they're ready to be released to the wild, we know that although sometimes it might look like, oh, it's scary for them to go into the wild, they haven't experienced very much, we know that it works because we've done research
That's it.
to show that.
Yeah, it's so we did the right thing.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Our visitors, is thanks to them.
Yeah.
They come to the Trust either to enjoy their day
And our members,
as a visitor.
really.
Our members are amazing, especially from last year, it's been very difficult for everyone, and they're still with us.
Yeah.
And you know, we've got great support, but obviously we need more.
Yeah, so people can visit and all become members or donate, and then all that goes towards helping wild birds to get back into the wild.
This is why we are like doing our job. I mean, it's because it's not just personal and flying birds having fun. It's we give something back to these wild birds, and it's very, very good. Yeah.
So it makes you feel good to.
Yeah, exactly.
And you see it from start to finish. So you have a bird come in, and you help to rehabilitate it, and then you get to send it back.
Plus, you know, the people who find the birds, we let them know how the bird's doing, and so you think about the bird and also the people in the same time. So each bird has its own story, if you like. It's great. Yeah.
So what keeps you going? Like, what gives you hope?
I think it's the trust. It's not hospital necessarily. It's all of us working with Matt, working with you. No, it's true because the Hawk Conservancy Trust has such a big mission, and one person can't do it. Even if we're a great team, I don't think we're enough. And so all working together for the same reasons, I think that's what makes me going. And I try to make a difference, basically. Yeah, that's it. That's what makes me going. Okay, come in, Anna. Have a look at that. It's brilliant, isn't it? New hospital annex.
Wow, it looks so amazing in here, Cedric. It's really nice to see it all done.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Look, new base as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, that's the biggest one, okay?
State of the art.
Yeah. And that means, you know, now with the peregrine falcons coming quite frequently, that's perfect. Everything works great.
Yeah. So what does this mean for you? What you mean? I mean, you've got a lot more space, but
I think life is going to be easier in a way for the birds. We get more species, and we can. They will recover much quicker.
Okay.
Which is perfect for all of them and for us in a way.
So how, does it make it easier for you? How is the setup better now? to where it was before?
Because before the hospital was on the other side, now it's from the car park for visitors. It's easier to come straight away. And then when the bird is in this base, when it's time for that very bird to go to the rehab aviaries, we just go from this door over there. So, quicker.
Yeah, much more streamlined, so it just makes things easier for you. But I guess that means that you will have lots more birds, so maybe you're going to be a bit more busy.
It's going to be long days, but yeah, I mean, we've got great facilities. Knowing we work with Anton Vez, they've got great facilities over there, and now we can almost match them in a way for the rehabilitation side of it. So for the birds, it's a win-win.
Yeah, just make it a much better process for those wild birds. We can get them back out into the wild quicker.
It's perfect, yeah.
And obviously this wouldn't have been possible without the help that we had from our amazing donors. And it must be much easier for you now with treating birds.
Definitely. I mean, we won't have been able to build it on our own with the trust itself. So now we've got a new annex. We can treat way more birds, which is great.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, treating more birds does mean it costs us money every month as well, and we have those ongoing costs. But we are obviously so grateful for the donors to have this new space.
Definitely, we're doing much better for the wild birds, and that's what matters. It's great.